Hello, I'm Philip Stoten for EMS Now. I'm here at the EIPC Summer Conference in Milan, and I'm joined by Bill Burr, who is with BPA Consulting. Bill, great to see you. I wrote down a phrase as you were giving your presentation, and that was PCB Makers Dream, or PCB Makers Dream come true. Tell me what you mean by that, and is it really?
Philip, that's a good question, and I think cuts right to the chase, right to the core of the problem. Because at the end of the day, PCB maker is basically in the transformation business. It's technology intensive, there's a lot of capital involved, but what the PCB maker is doing is transforming other people's IP into finished products. So when I say a PCB maker's dream, basically these technologies offer the really two aspects. One of them is a high degree of customization, and I think that fits right into also the emerging future European model for the printed circuit industry. A high degree of customization because the products, the differentiation that we're going to be seeing in the products as these new technologies mature is going to cut across a number of applications categories. So that means lots of opportunities for new designs,
right.
Lots of opportunities to contribute in terms of co-design and new product engineering and new product development.
Okay, and hearing the word design constantly there, not manufacturing. So in terms of that benefit to the European PCB industry perhaps, is that an opportunity for them to make money out of manufacturing, or will they be just making money out of the development opportunities? Is this going to be a very front end?
Yeah, that's another, I think, very appropriate question. If all you're doing is running a transformation business, then the metrics that you're working with and the margin opportunities you have are connected with basically a transformation business. And what are the key metrics? They do it fast, do it reliably, and do it at the lowest possible cost.
Yeah.
And that's a tough way to run a business. But if what you're also able to do in the process is provide solutions, that is, engage in this design dialogue or offer the OEM or the tier 2 or your customer new ways or different ways of doing things which may reduce their parts count, that really gives you two possibilities. One is to engage in that design process, so that's part of the value recapture. And then if the outcome of this design process is a product which encompasses more functions, to give a specific example, in the days of microvia, we basically were reassembling existing building blocks to create what we were calling enabling technologies. You could not interconnect a chip scale package unless you use microvia technologies. And that technology originated with the printed circuit manufacturers. There were only a few, but those guys, because the printed circuit manufacturer is in the middle, he understands what his processes can do, what his materials can do, and he also, if he's a partner at that level, he understands where his customers' roadmaps are going to go.
Okay, my next question is really relating to whether that's an opportunity for Europe, the rest of the world, Asia, wherever. And it's kind of in twofold. Is it an opportunity for us to be involved in those technologies in Europe whilst they're developing, whilst there is a lot of research and development required, and whilst they're new technology before they become commoditized? And the second question relates to looking around the room today and realizing that most of the movers and shakers in this industry are still our generation. They were our generation 20 years ago. We felt like new kids on the block. There's a lot more grey hair here than I'd like there to be. I'm concerned that the number of engineers graduating in Asia, in India, in other new developing areas like Vietnam, for example, very, very high numbers. Do we have those people coming through to make the most of that opportunity? So firstly, opportunity, is it in Europe? And secondly, is skill shortage going to slow us down in taking advantage of those opportunities?
Okay. I think the answer to the first question is that is the European opportunity. The build out in Asia, low labor cost countries, if you will, Philip, but obviously Asia, we all know who's the elephant in the room. combination of the infrastructure build out, what we all know in terms of the operating environment, not only not only labor costs, but also capital costs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It reminds me, and actually this dovetails into the second question, because it reminds me of something that John Indy, who was the president of Photo Circus years ago, used to say, and that was cheap brains. Cheap brains. And he was very concerned about this. However, what I also see is that there are phases to a technology evolution. There's the intuition, there's the intuition and the innovation, and then you move into commoditization. What I saw today further underlined the fact that there's quite an amount of innovation going on here. It's only a matter of time, yes, until it goes offshore. But some of the, for example, Hans Friedrich's presentation, in which he made it very clear that yes, while automotive may be a relatively constrained portion of the overall world market, automotive is a big deal in Europe, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, and that is the responsiveness and the innovation capabilities of European industry. It happened, and I don't want to keep coming back to this, but Microvia was such an excellent example of shifting the center of gravity of intellectual property from the supply base, the suppliers of smart molecules and processes that the printed circuit manufacturer uses to transform the customer's IP into. A printed circuit manufacturer is always doing something else, and he was always working for somebody else. But that opportunity gave the printed circuit manufacturers, who are the leaders, combined existing things in new ways, and that is happening again.
Yeah. Okay. And just to finish on the skills issue, do you think we do have a skills issue that we need to address here in Europe? How do we attract? My kids are looking at international business. They're looking at law. They're looking at film studies, media, those kind of things. How do we get them to look at engineering? How do we get them to look at technology as an attractive thing? Because I was in Shenzhen 2 weeks ago, and the kids that are graduating really want to be in electronics. They want to be engineers.
Well, Philip, my responses to that are multifaceted, and they range from a perception of the entitlement society all the way through macroeconomics, as you mentioned.
It's maybe a timing thing.
Yeah, I think it is a timing thing. I think there's a cyclical aspect to it. I certainly agree with the assessment that there was a lot of gray hair in the room today. You know, where are the young firebrands who are going to lead this industry? Now there are some, but I think this is a fundamental problem, and I don't think it's going to be addressed by the European Commission, not to run them down, but it.
It's interesting. I've had this debate. I've had this debate for the last year in the EMS sector, and it's actually a different debate in different parts of the world. In Germany, for example, the engineer is valued in a different way. They're more highly valued than perhaps we're used to doing in the UK, in Italy, and other areas. So there are some redeeming factors, but I do think it is going to be a challenge, not just for Europe but for the US as well, as we try to keep hold of that engineering and that innovation and that inspirational part of product development, because that's where the real value is.
I think that's a good way to define it, the inspirational part. I spent a fair amount of time in China myself, and one of the things that struck me was the desire at all levels of the society to just
be better.
Just be better.
Yeah, be better and get into the next thing. Bill, fabulous to see you again. It's been a long time. Real pleasure to chat to you, and I hope we can talk again soon. Thank you.
You're welcome, Phil.
Thanks a lot.